Alright, I am back with another official scenario in Plaguing Evolve. Ice Age. Solar variation reduces the amount of radiation emitted by the sun, triggering a minor ice age and lowering the global surface temperature by more than 5 degrees Celsius, as well as triggering other climate change events. Is hell freezing over? Who knows? Standard bacteria. The ice plague. New bacteria. Right. Places that are hot are still hot. Places that are cold are still cold. Some places are getting a little bit colder than usual. Where did I just start? Ukraine. Alright, fine. We'll do it that way then. Rural, humid. Oh my god, damn, I got like a... Okay, so a little bit of an update. I have a new chair. That's right, now my gaming prowess has been unlocked. For now, I am no longer bound by shitty chair limitation. Yeah. Mature brain student amazed by the man. Also, what was I trying to say again? God damn it. I forgot. Oh yeah, right. The last video about, I mean, in the last episode of Pimp My Flight, I was basically just, you know, it was just like a free talk about the Overlord light novel and all that kind of stuff. Since, yeah, I've just finished reading Overlord, chapter 15 and 16. So, yeah, I also finished up the part 4 anime of Overlord, which is pretty good, I must say. I mean, of course, not exactly the most advanced animation there are, but I think, you know, if you are you're a light novel reader, I think that's like, you know, it gives a lot of additional context to, you know, what was happening, because, you know, when you read a light novel, you know, you have to like kind of imagine like what is happening based on the description of the scene, you know, like you have this scene happening around you, and you kind of like, I mean, there are like, you know, illustration that kind of like guide you on what's going on, like, and then there are like illustration of the characters, but like, you know, seeing the character in person doing the thing that you know is only described by words, it's really refreshing to me. I really like this scene when Philip went and talked to Albedo. Because when you read the light novel, right? When you read the light novel, you're like, um, you know, it's described Philip like going to talk to Albedo. So I was just like, oh, okay. So it's like a ball, like you know as they are going to a ball, right? Like, is it like people. You imagine like in a ball, like people just kind of like go around and like greet people. So it's like, oh, okay, so that's pretty normal. Like he just kind of sit there and then maybe. And then when she walks by and like he's like, oh, this woman looks beautiful and I will talk to her. It's not like that at all in the anime. It's like dude just like see the Albedo walks in and like she's like, oh my god, this woman's beautiful, and then he just she's like talking to the king, right? She's talking to the king. She's like the prime minister. So it's basically like a meeting between head of state, right? And then you are like. And then Philip is like a freaking noble from like Nobody Land. It's like a when you have like a meeting in the modern day, right? You have like one of those big country gathering, like like the G20, for example. And then you have like the head of state kind of like talking to each other, kind of stuff like that. And then like imagine like for example the Prime Minister of Finland, like Sanna Marin, right? She's like just talking, and then like some random asshole who's like kind of a son of a provincial leader. It's kind of just happens to be there because he's like hosting like that place, like hosting the meeting. It's like, oh, okay, so I'll go talk to this lady. Like, dude, bro, like, know your place, please. And not just talk to the lady. He's like, oh my, he's like, he's like, walk up to the stair where the king and Albedo was like, talking, and he's like, please go out with me. Jesus Christ, man, that's like, that's solidified as like one of the most like bizarre and like amazing moments in the anime, because like it shows how stupid Philip was. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand like the gravity of the situation at all. Like in his mind, he's like more important than anyone else, especially even the king. Like dude, way overshot himself and like brings the demise of the kingdom. Spoiler alert. That whole fucking stupidity, of course it was all orchestrated by Ainz and like Ainz the crew, but it would not have been as successful as it was if not for Philip's idiocy. And he's so stupid that he basically just like advanced the course of destruction for the kingdom. Basically. Also, the fight are awesome because like in the when you read the here's the thing, right? In the anime, you don't get to see the inner working in each character's mind. Like the monologue are all kind of like inside of their head mostly. You have some kind of like monologue here and there, but for the most part the monologue just doesn't exactly get spoken out to the audience in the anime. So when you read the light novel, you know what the character is like thinking, but when you read when you watch anime, right? Like, so you have the context of that already, but you don't have the visualization of what's happening outside. So having both of those is like really good. It's like it gives you a lot of like context of what's going on. It's really interesting. Anyway, back to the game. So it seems that we are not spreading at all in surrounding areas, especially in Sweden, because of the drugs resistance not being as good. Alright, well, it does spread outside to the east here, which is my main concern, as if you start over in Europe, at least in Eastern Europe, you're not gonna have too much rich in the south over here, in the southern Pacific and maybe Africa. Alright. The spread is kind of slow. I'm not sure how to like improve that. New aid program for poor countries. By all means, I think it should have spread much faster than this. I'm not getting any points at all because we are spreading as fast as we could. Of course, I could always pick one of these things, but don't exactly want to. Coffin has mutated. That's pretty effective. And we have been spotted. Okay, so with the coffin, I think we have sort of broke the, you know, resistance here. Kind of broke through now, and now we have a lot of infectivity, enough to spread quite efficiently, but we still need some heat resistance and of course drug resistance. Wow, that happens quite fast. How much is this now? 12? Pick that up before it gets too expensive. My main concern is still the island countries over here. Over here and over here. 27, 24, so I'll pick the 24 first. There's always like one question that is, you know, in Overlord that's kind of like hard to answer. It's like if the players who came before Ainz have already spread so much knowledge about Yggdrasil magic and technology, why didn't they try to replicate such a thing? You know, we see all these legendary items and stuff, but like you don't see them being experimented on by, or like, you know, being passed down, like except for like maybe some of the magic casting stuff, which is probably natural for the people of that universe already. But like stuff like items, stuff like potions and stuff like that, and armors, gears, those don't exactly get passed down too much. Perhaps because of the players who came before, they didn't really have too much of a understanding of the system, or at least they are kind of noob-ish. Or didn't have enough resources like Eins County, the guild. So I assume that probably is the case. But you know, seeing the new season where, you know, there's a Gundam armor suit, it's like, you know, it's kind of jarring that nobody have tried to replicate that, or at least you know, kind of looked in to what that even is, and they just kind of accept it as like, you know, oh, legendary armor blessed by the god. It's like, bro, that's like, you know, gunpowder and stuff like that. Why don't you, like, you know, investigate that kind of shit, you know? Maybe. Then again, the people of the new world are pretty arrogant, so I'm not sure if they would even have the capacity to figure out stuff, simple stuff like that, and like replicate it. Like, that's just a part. That's just me being, like, you know, nitpicking, because I kind of, because most of the fantasy stuff, they don't really how do I say this? They don't exactly focus on the aspect of technology, because they already have magic, right? But at least, like, you know, you should have, you know, investigate stuff like gunpowder and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to figure out from a civilization point of view, because you know, easy to mine, easy to find, easy to reproduce. Gunpowder technology, you know. Wow, cure research is going fast. We need to do something about that. This costs 33, and I'm kind of debating whether or not I should get death going or get the cure research down. I think death going would be much better. Here, let's go and add into hemorrhagic shock. Should get a lot of points so that we can spend it not on just the symptom, but also the ability to reshuffle my genes. This costs 35 now. Greenland, for some reason, is not spreading. They're even dying. I assume it is because of the lack of cold resistance. Gonna need to invest some point into that real quick before every one of the infected dies. Same with Iceland. $25. Come on. Yes, it's rising again. The cure is 75% complete though. So we're gonna need to hurry up. Let's evolve these two to increase the infection rate. If we have any spare point, I'm gonna spend it on genetic reshuffle. $30 DNA points. Come on. Who's still curing? Iceland, Central Europe, South Africa. I don't think we're gonna have enough. Okay, seems that everyone in the world has been infected. I'm just gonna have to invest in paralysis and hope that's gonna do something against the cure. Yeah, down 3%. Just waiting for Green and Ison to die out now. At this point, I think I'm just gonna pick some stuff here to dump my points. Strangely tense at the last moment. You know this video is gonna have like a freezing thumbnail again. Freezing blue thumbnail. It's my favorite. Hang on, let me pick that up. Victory. Easy. Only 1 star though. Could have done better, but you know, I started in a place that is not non-standard. Took quite some time, 1067 days. Yeah, I'm just gonna spend the last bit of this video talking a little bit about, you know, the kind of fantasy story that I kind of like, which is, I mean, you can get from what I have already been saying is, I just like, you know, fantasy that is kind of modern-ish, right? Wow, look at this. The lethality just rise way up. Modern fantasy. It's like, you know, you have the... So basically, I kind of divide it into like technological level, right? You have like the good old Lord of the Rings style fantasy where everything is like medieval level, and sprinkle in a little bit of magic. You have the high magic kind of fantasy where the world is a little bit more advanced. Let's just say they have a lot of comfort living in that world, but it's not because of technology, it's more like of magic. So kind of like how would I say it, I guess Harry Potter-ish kind of deal, but then Harry Potter just said it's a real world, so that's not exactly a fantasy world. How about Warcraft 3? You have a lot of... No, Warcraft 3 is still just kind of... they do have technologies, they have tanks, they have engines, they have flying machines, stuff like that, so it's not exactly the same kind of thing. But there are a lot of animes where in the magical world, and they're in the magical world, but like, you know, it kind of have like some sort of resemblance to the normal world that we are living in. minus the technology, and the magic kind of like take over that role as the main technology of that civilization. I remember there's like was a one anime where there's like a teacher who's like teaching magic in a school, and like that school got like attacked by a bunch of like terrorists or something like that. I don't remember what the anime is, and I don't remember it having two. I don't remember having another season after season one, even though it kind of ended a cliffhanger. And then up one level, it's like my favorite kind of anime, which I mean not anime, favorite kind of fantasy, which is like fantasy but with a modern day setting. Like we know what the modern day is like, so we kind of like understand. But like you have fantasy incorporated in. It's not like Harry Potter, which is fantasy that is set in the modern era, but it's separated from the modern era. This kind of thing, like Narnia. You have Harry Potter. You have, I guess, Men in Black. Does it count? No, not really. It's not fantasy. It's more sci-fi at that point. But you have a separate fantasy world, but the main timeline is in the main time period is in the modern day era. But that's not what I like. That's what I like is that modern day era interacting with the fantasy world, or fantasy world and modern day era kind of within each other. Not sci-fi though. Not sci-fi like Marvel and stuff like that. No, but it has to be strictly fantasy with elves and orcs and kind of stuff like that. Some movie does it well. Some movie doesn't do it justice. One of the animes I like in that kind of genre is like what's that? It's like that Crime Stopper anime with a cop and like an elf from a different world who are like in a fantasy like fake Hawaii kind of location where it's like still in the US, but it's not like in the continental USA, and the island is basically a gateway between the fantasy world and the real world, and like the police department there has to cooperate with the law enforcement of the elves, and there are like a lot of fantasy element in there, but there's also like Miami cop kind of vibe to it. And then up one level is like sci-fi fantasy with like in which like you have fantasy race and then spaceship, kind of like World of Warcraft currently, and I guess Warhammer 40k. But yeah, that's enough of the rambling. I should end the video now. All right. Yeah. Goodbye.